Hello, my name is Adair Newhall. I'm from Greenspring Associates. I'm honored to be here today with the CEO of Personal Genome Diagnostics, Doug Ward. Thank you for your time today. We are talking about a groundbreaking, revolutionary company right here in the heart of Baltimore, and Doug is at the helm of bringing new and talented employees to this region. Also, we want to touch on sort of your company's history and its vision. To start fresh, can you give us a little understanding about the history of the firm and just how Louise and Victor, your founders, got you and attracted you to the company today?
So PGDx was founded in 2010. It is a startup out of Johns Hopkins University where both Victor Velculescu and Luis Diaz were employees at the time, did great work with people like Bert Vogelstein and his team over there at Hopkins. They saw a terrific opportunity to do what is called next-gen sequencing testing of tumor tissue. So what they would do is they would do this next-gen sequencing technology on tumor samples in order to identify what are the genetic mutations that are occurring and are causing the cancer. They started to get a lot of requests based on the scientific publications that they were doing from other great thought leaders in the industry as well as pharmaceutical companies. So they saw the opportunity to start this up as an opportunity here out of Baltimore. They started as out of the incubator space at Hopkins doing this testing, and quickly with their, I'd say, scientific prowess as well as the advancement in what's called personalized medicine in the field of oncology, they quickly grew this as a centralized or single laboratory testing business here in Baltimore, Maryland. In 2014, the business had expanded and we moved into new facilities on the waterfront here in Baltimore, Maryland, in order to set up our testing laboratory. Again, we further grew that business, and in 2015, Luis and Victor actually understood that you cannot do all the testing that needs to be done right out of Baltimore, Maryland. So what they decided to do was we can kit or make kits, boxes of the reagents necessary, as well as the bioinformatics algorithm that sit inside of a server. They could supply that to other labs in order to do this testing themselves. So in effect, moving Baltimore to every other lab around the world. So in 15, we did our Series A, and we had NEA lead that, New Enterprise Associates lead that, and again, they're a Maryland-based venture business. We were able to get funding to transform the business from a centralized lab into what's called an in vitro diagnostic medical device company, making kits and sending those kits around the world. They then recruited me in 2016 to come on board after they secured their Series A funding and created this new strategic plan. The reason I came here was multiple. The most significant was Luis and Victor. They're just brilliant people. They're passionate about helping patients with their struggle and with hopefully a cure for cancer. And certainly that's something that's very motivational to me personally, because all of us are typically touched by cancer at some point in our lives, and to have a positive influence on those patients, I think is very powerful.
You touch on this centralized versus decentralized approach. That we'll talk to in a second, the vision of where you're going to lead the company or at this process now. But I want to talk about your career first, because here you are, an established veteran, having come from the largest diagnostic company in the world, where you joined Ventana after it sold to Roche for $3.4 billion, one of the largest at its time. So you being at that company at that time was already a prominent position. What gave you the ambition to come all the way to Baltimore, Maryland to try to create this company here now?
Being at Roche was a wonderful opportunity. It is the largest and most successful diagnostic company in the world, and you do have the opportunity to learn a lot about the industry, and certainly I think the thing that I learned the most being involved in running the Ventana companion diagnostic business there was the transformation that is occurring in medicine, especially in oncology, around personalized medicine. When I started there was really only a couple of drugs on market at the time, Herceptin being the largest, which is a Roche drug. And we had a companion for that called HER2. It's a tissue-based test to look at the expression of HER2 within breast cancer tissue. And that can identify those patients that are going to best respond to that personalized drug. Well, since that time, there has been an explosion in the focus of drugs in oncology based on a genetic mutation event that occurs and understanding what drives that cancer. So I was there at Ventana and helped build that business for us at Roche, and we were very successful at that. Where I then saw this going was we were a protein-based company, and if you think of the central dogma within this field of cancer biology, it goes from DNA to RNA to protein. We were focused on protein, and you saw this great technology come to life in next-gen sequencing. And that was going to give you an explosion of information to further progress both the drug development and the opportunity for those drugs to get registered and get onto market, and then to do the testing to identify who should go on those drugs. One of the key things for me, and the reason I wanted to come here, was that idea of building a market, building and bringing a new technology to the clinical diagnostic world was intriguing to me and very exciting. One of the things that I knew from coming from Ventana was, unfortunately for a number of patients, 20 to 30%, you cannot get tissue from them. So therefore you need to use blood. Well, that's a very difficult technology to bring to market. Luis and Victor actually helped to develop the technology to allow to do blood-based next-gen sequencing. So we knew that was a wonderful new science that was going to be available to bring to the market. In addition, even when you get tissue, you get very small amounts of that tissue to test. And with a protein test, you might use up all of that tissue and only get a few tests out, because you do one test and you get one answer, one result. With next-gen sequencing, it's what's called multiplex, meaning I can do many tests, 500 tests, thousands of tests out of one sample, which means I get so much more information to help the oncologist make that determination of what drug to put them on. So this confluence of the new technology, the new application of technology in blood, as well as building something as exciting as this company is, and transforming the practice of medicine by taking this and putting it in all the labs around the world was exciting for me to leave a great company that is Roche and come here and build our own great company here in Personal Genome Diagnostics.